guys, thanks a lot for joining me. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about these new palettes from Revlon. They say Eyes, Cheeks, and Lips palette. And the idea is that these are full of universally flattering shades. So there are 3 different varieties. You've got the Romantic Nudes, there's the Berry in Love palette, and then the Seductive Smokies palette. And anytime I think of that name, I think of Little Smokies. Maybe I'm just hungry for breakfast food. I've been trying these out, and long story short, I'm not really impressed with these. Now the price tag is $17.99, so when we're starting to close in on $20 for a drugstore product, I really begin to look super critically at them and think, is it really worth that? And bottom line here, I think we've got average eyeshadows as far as drugstore palettes go. The worst thing in these palettes are the blushes. They're like kind of non-existent, even on my skin tone. So if you're even a little deeper than me, I think you're going to be even more frustrated with these, but I just can't get them to show up on me. And then you've got lip products in here. The lip colors are decent. You're getting 2 that are actually lipsticks and 2 that are identified as glosses. So these are going to be more sheer and shiny. These are going to be more opaque. And those seem to, kind of do what you would expect them to do. They're not bad colors. They seem to be nicely pigmented and creamy, but that was really the part of the palette that I wasn't even super interested in to begin with. I see they're trying to really make it like a convenient multi-palette type deal, but I really wish when brands put creamy products in with other powder products, they got to do something to kind of separate those creams, or like the balm always seems to come up with a way to give it like a separate little flap so that powder doesn't get in with these, because here you've got powder down here, you got all these powder shadows, and I've already experienced a lot of powder shadow falling out into those things and then kind of having to blend it away or scrape it off. It's kind of annoying there. Quality wise, just the palettes themselves, they feel nice. There's a nice sturdiness to them. There's an actual plastic window there. I would have rather had a bigger mirror, but you do get at least a tiny mirror, which I think is better than no mirror, but that's really small. And for applicators, you're getting a tiny blush brush, a little double-ended sponge tip, and a little lip brush as well. I wouldn't really use the tiny blush brush, but the other parts, I'll use a sponge tip applicator from time to time, and the lip brush is fine as well. I enjoy multitasking. I thought, if I get this and I love the quality, this could be a really nice thing. And maybe if I'm just loving the quality so much, I could overlook the fact that there are creams situated right next to a powder, but it's just not the way it went for me. And looking at the price tag and then seeing what you get, it's nothing I would sit here and say, oh my gosh, everybody needs to run out and try these. Really, what the quality of the eyeshadows reminds me of, if you've tried, it would have been several years back that they were still in stores, but the Revlon eyeshadows that were kind of, a rectangular shape, it's that kind of quality, which always tended to be a little bit hit and miss for me. Across the board with these palettes, the deeper shades are better, the lighter shades are more sheer and flaky. You can definitely make them work with a primer, so looking on the bright side, you could get a decent look with these eyeshadows. And the lip colors are certainly usable, but looking more critically at it, it's like, I wish there was more consistent quality with the eyeshadows. And the blushes, what the heck, let's put something in there with a little more pigment. So I want to show you swatches of all of these so you can really see what I'm talking about. So I think the softest, most natural option is the Romantic Nudes palette. All of the eyeshadow shades contain shimmer except for a matte brown that's in here. And as you can see, the deeper shades, a lot more color payoff. You don't have to use as much product to get an impact on your eyes. I would recommend using a primer with these regardless, but the blush is really, really weak. And then you've got lip products where, again, 2 are lipsticks, 2 are identified as lip glosses. So I'm glad they gave you at least a couple of lip colors in there that do have, a definite look on the lips. They really show up. Next up, you've got the Berry in Love palette, and I don't know if you guys have noticed, but it almost seems like they're setting you up to have 2 separate eye looks in here. You could certainly mix them up and use different things, but here it's got like this soft kind of pastel with a hint of purple, and then a little bit more of a deep smoky eye option over here. Just something I noticed, but you look at these shades and very consistent with what I've noticed before, dark darker shades perform a little bit better. They just feel more rich. These light shimmery shades just kind of chalky, just even to swatch them, but also to apply them. There is a baby pink blush in here, and these blushes feel kind of nice to the touch, but there's no color payoff coming from that. And then two berry type lip colors and two glosses that basically show up pretty sheer. You're gonna see a lot of your natural lip color through any of these glosses, just so you know. And then if I were to pick a palette that I find to be the most impressive or just had the best color payoff for me, it would be the Seductive Smokies palette, because I do really like the lip colors. I think the lip colors offer the most variety. It's kind of nice to have this one that's a little bit sheer and shimmery. It gives a nice little spotlight on the lower lip, center of the lower lip. You've got a berry type gloss that actually does show up with some color. Two pretty colorful lipsticks here. They give you that red. The blush, again, it's kind of a toss it out type item. I tried to put that on today, but I could not see anything on my cheeks, so I popped on a different blush. And then I'm also wearing mainly these shades for my eye look today, and a little bit of that plummy color there as well. But these eyeshadows, because there is so much darkness and depth here, they really have the most impact out of all the others, whereas the swatches of the others as a whole just seem kind of pastel and light. These definitely have some intensity. That black is really nice. You can see a little bit of shimmer in it, but it really performs like a matte color, and it made a decent smoky eye for me. And then on the lips, I'm wearing mostly this shade and a little bit of both of these glosses kind of mixed together on top. But in the scope of everything, like, the lip products are just not something I'm really that interested in this palette anyway. If they're great quality, you know, added bonus, but I'm probably going to tend to use lip products that I have kind of individually in my collection so I can pop them out, take them with me in my purse if I'm going somewhere. That's just a more practical way to touch up and reapply for me. I think this palette might have had more potential if they had some good quality face products in here, like a blush that really showed up, and then maybe also a bronzer and a highlight. Kind of like the way this Charlotte Tilbury instant look in a palette is. You know, this is all powder and everything in here is like really top-notch quality. Granted, it's way more pricey than this other stuff, and I will be doing a full video kind of reviewing and showing you how I use this. But having had this palette, it got me interested in this whole multitasking palette idea. I saw Revlon came out with these. I wanted to try them all, but for nearly $20 a pop, I don't think they're performing up to par. If I was gonna pick one that gave the most bang for the buck, I would say it's the Smoky palette, but realistically, I'm probably not gonna use a lot of this bottom part, so, you know. I would be happy to hear what you guys think of these palettes if you've tried them. I'm all for multitasking. I'm all for, you know, ease of use and pop it in your purse type stuff, but I don't know that this was my favorite execution of that kind of idea. So thank you guys for watching. I hope this was helpful if you were curious about these. Stay tuned for more info on the Tilbury palette. I know some of you have noticed I've been wearing that in some previous videos and have asked, how's the quality? Is it worth it? So I'm really going to address those things in its own video. At first I thought I might lump it all together, but I thought no, too much content. So thanks again, guys. I appreciate your time, and I'll see you later. Bye.